ask for the mic, and we have a person, we have in fact 2 persons with mics who can reach you quickly. Tejasvi, you can give your reply before someone asks for the mic.
Sir, I don't think I have to reply. Whatever you say is our orders. We'll process it, sir. And when it comes to the 4G policy also, and the no entry thing which you are talking about, Mayor Katni would agree with me. We used to have the same small problem in the small town of Katni also, because the industrial area was situated.
Katni is not a small town.
Now it's quite large, sir. Comparatively, I was saying. So it can be worked out, sir. That's what I think.
Please talk to our people,
AKVN
the associations,
people.
take their inputs and...
Sir, thank you, sir.
One thing I would like to share with all of you, that the single window system should remain single, whatever he has pointed out, because we have to improve ourselves, we have to improve our working, because everything is going to be online. And if we are offering somebody from abroad to do their business over here, then we should also have the proper infrastructure for the industrial development of that particular industry. Because whatever transport facilities required, whatever basic infrastructure of the city facilities are required, that are to be maintained according to the need of the industry which is going to be established in MP or through our mobilization. So we should be prepared on our part. So far as the cities are concerned, like Bhopal and all cities, that we should be prepared that whatever facilities they want to get from ourselves, that we should be prepared for that. So far as Wi-Fi facility is concerned, so far as housing is concerned, so far road facility is concerned, so far sewerage water is concerned, so far development of colonies for their industry is concerned, we have to be prepared for that.
Any questions, please? आपने बैन किया क्या क्वेश्चन? हाँ?
Thank you, sir. My question is basically regarding ease of doing business only, which you talked about, sir, and Mr. Biju sir also spoke on, and आपने भी सभी ने उसी बात को highlight किया, sir. How do we business persons cope with it, as it is not all that easy doing business in India? What we feel on the ground. आपने 85 लाइसेंसेस की बात की, सर. ऑनलाइन है या नहीं है, सर, हमको कोई ग्राउंड पे फर्क नहीं पड़ रहा. एक छोटा सा, सर, कंस्ट्रक्शन का जो है गवर्नमेंट ऑफ एमपी, मतलब आप जब हायर लेवल पे, मिनिस्ट्री लेवल पे, प्राइम मिनिस्टर या चीफ मिनिस्टर या कैबिनेट लेवल पे बात करते हैं, सर, बहुत अच्छे डिसीजंस आते हैं. कॉन्ट्रैक्टर्स को, सर, एक लाइसेंस आप देते हैं ए ग्रेड, बी ग्रेड, सी ग्रेड में, सर, वो गवर्नमेंट ने ऑनलाइन कर दिया. 5 कैटेगरी थी, उसको 3 में कर दिया और ए बी सी में कर दिया. और आप सिर्फ ऑनलाइन जो एमपी ऑनलाइन के पोर्टल्स हैं या कियोस्क हैं, जाके एप्लीकेशन डाल दीजिए, आपका होके आ जाएगा. सारे पेपर्स सही होने के बाद, सर, सही फॉर्मेट में जाने के बाद वहाँ से कोई रिस्पॉन्स ही नहीं आता. एक साल हो जाता है, सर. अनलेस यू गो टू भोपाल, मीट समवन इन पर्सन. ये एक एग्जाम्पल है, दो इट इज नॉट कनेक्टेड टू इंडस्ट्री, सर. ऐसे, सर, कटनी हमारा माइनिंग से और मिनरल से बहुत जुड़ा हुआ है. तो माइनिंग और मिनरल्स की इंडस्ट्रीज वहाँ आसपास बहुत आने का स्कोप है, सर. मेयर साहब हैं, आप हैं, सर. हाउ डू यू मेक इट ईजी सो दैट पीपल फ्रॉम outside the state and outside the country come and find it very easy to put up a business or a mine over there, or a industry based on mining over there? There are certain things we feel कि इनको आप बताएं, सर, easy कैसे हम कर सकते हैं.
Thank you very much. I think it's a very tough question to answer. पहला तो ये है कि जो 85 लाइसेंसेस की मैंने जो बात की है, वो investmp.gov.in पे उन सब का लिस्ट है, और उनमें से जो 74 ऑनलाइन है, उस पर वो लाल रंग में है, उसके ऊपर आप कर्सर ले जाएंगे तो वो ऑनलाइन क्लिक करके आप उस पर्टिकुलर वेबसाइट में जा सकते हैं। तो आप खुद चेक कर सकते हैं कि ये जो 74 जो ऑनलाइन हुए हैं ये वास्तव में ऑनलाइन हुए, ऑनलाइन एप्लीकेशन दे सकेंगे नहीं दे सकेंगे। मैं आपका बात मानता हूँ कि कुछ 1-2 सर्विस, अधिकांश ये 74 में से ऑनलाइन रिसेंटली हुए हैं। जब से केंद्र सरकार और राज्य सरकार ने इस चीज़ पे जोर दिया है कि हमें ईज़ ऑफ डूइंग बिजनेस पे बहुत सारा काम करना है, तो कई सारे चीज़ लास्ट 6 मंथ्स में हुए हैं। तो हो सकता है कि सम ऑफ देम विल हैव टीथिंग प्रॉब्लम्स, बट हम लोग इंडस्ट्री एसोसिएशन से निरंतर टच में हैं और जो इनपुट आता है हम उसके आधार पर उसको रिफाइन भी करते रहते हैं। जहाँ तक जो 2 आपके स्पेसिफिक एग्जांपल्स हैं, वो जो कॉन्ट्रैक्टर रजिस्ट्रेशन वाला, आई कैन चेक विद पीडब्ल्यूडी डिपार्टमेंट कि वो किस हद तक उसको ऑनलाइन ले गए, उसमें कोई टाइम लिमिट है कि नहीं, क्या रिस्पॉन्स सिस्टम है, वी कैन चेक दैट। ऑन माइनिंग आई थिंक द रिसेंट चेंज इन माइनिंग रूल्स में दे आर स्टिल वर्किंग ऑन हाउ टू ब्रिंग इन ईज ऑफ डूइंग बिजनेस। माइनिंग में काफ़ी सारे चेंजेस पिछले 1 साल में उनके रूल्स और रेगुलेशंस में हुए हैं। So both points are noted and both points are valid. I concede both the points. और जो आप कह रहे हैं कि एक बार ऑनलाइन करने के बाद भी लोग के जाके पर्सनली मिलना पड़ता है, मैं इतना रिक्वेस्ट करता हूँ कि जिस सीरियसनेस से अभी राज्य सरकार इस काम को देख रही है, ये probably this is the best time to give feedback like the way you have given feedback. आज आपने जो 2 डिपार्टमेंट्स का फीडबैक दिया, मैं लेके जाऊंगा मेरे साथ। देखिए, आज हम यहाँ बैठे हैं, मेरे दोनों सीनियर ऑफिसर्स दिल्ली में बैठ के इसी ईज़ ऑफ डूइंग बिजनेस पर एक पॉइंट पे वहाँ पर रिव्यू में बैठे हैं कि कैसे मध्य प्रदेश कहाँ तक पहुँचा और कैसे इम्प्रूव हो सकता है। 4 मार्च को सीएम साहब स्वयं एक ऐसी कार्यशाला में बैठ के सुबह से शाम तक वो पूरे दिन बैठ के इंडस्ट्री एसोसिएशन से और ऑफिसर से एक चीज़ पूछ के उन्होंने डिसीजन दिया है कि इसमें ऐसा ईज़ होना चाहिए, इसमें ऐसे प्रक्रिया होना चाहिए। उसी का नतीजा है कि हम आज ये कह पा रहे हैं कि 85 में से 74 जगह हम ऑनलाइन प्रक्रिया को कर दिए हैं। यहाँ पर तेजस्वी बैठे हैं, इन्होंने भी एक ऐसा संशोधन लिया है कि आप 3rd पार्टी सर्टिफिकेशन के आधार पर आप बिल्डिंग परमिशन ले सकते हैं। पहले आपको नगर निगम कार्यालय में जाना पड़ता था। इन्होंने कहा कि इतने वर्ग फुट तक और जो भी 2-4 कंडीशन उन्होंने लगाया, और उन्होंने कहा कि यदि आपने आर्किटेक्ट से लिखवा के ले लिया कि ये सही है, सारे नियम पालन करता है, तो यू डोंट नीड अ परमिशन फ्रॉम द बीएमसी, इट इज़ अ डीम्ड परमिशन। सो कई सारे चेंजेस बहुत तेज़ी से हो रहे हैं। तो आई विल रिक्वेस्ट यू एंड ऑल्सो योर फ्रेंड्स एंड अदर एसोसिएशंस to give us as much feedback as possible। हम इसको improve करेंगे और we will जो मेरे को लैपटॉप में दिखा रहा था या नितिन, we will try to reach from the current rank of 142 in ease of doing business for the country, we want to reach around 50s। ये बहुत steep target है कि 1 साल में आपको 100 नंबर जंप करने का, बट जिस प्रकार के राज्य और केंद्र सरकार में ये काम हो रही है, आई एम श्योर वी विल अचीव द टारगेट। थैंक यू वेरी मच।
Any more questions? So now I invite Bhopal Municipal Corporation Commissioner Shri Tejasvi Nayak to present memento to all the speakers. Shri Nayak. Shri Nayak will present memento to Shri V.L. Kantarao, Commissioner Department of Industries, Government of Madhya Pradesh. Big round of applause. Then Shri Nitin Yola, Second Secretary Designate High Commission of India, Colombo, Ministry of External Affairs. Then Mayor Katni, Shashank Srivastav, and Shri Biju Kadapurat, Director and Global Smart Cities Expert, PwC. You all are requested for a group photograph, please. Thank you everyone. And the session ends here. And our next session is Smart Infrastructure and smart transportation for building smart cities. In this session, speakers will talk about smart infrastructure and initiatives taken for smart transportation for building smart cities. I would like to call Dr. C.S. Kumar, Transport Secretary, Government of Odisha, on stage. Big round of applause. We have Shri Dilip Shetkar, with us, Consultant Architect, Naya Raipur Development Authority from Chhattisgarh. Huge round of applause. Then we have Shri Abhishek Kumar, Technical Secretary to Minister of IT, Government of Telangana. जोरदार तालियों के साथ स्वागत करें श्री अभिषेक कुमार जी का. One more speaker is there in this panel. We have Shri Amit Bhatt, Strategic Head, Embark India. जोरदार तालियों के साथ स्वागत करें. Before we start the session, I request Shri Tejasvi Nayak, Commissioner, Bhopal Municipal Corporation, to welcome all the guests with a bouquet. Shri Nayak. In the meantime, I would like to highlight some of the laudable steps undertaken by the Bhopal Municipal Corporation to provide people of Bhopal a better quality of life in terms of infrastructure and transportation. BMC has installed automatic timers and retrofitting energy efficient LED lights in the streets to save electricity. Then BMC has also introduced non-motorized transport by facilitating cycle tracks and linking colonies with BRTS to strengthen public transport. So this session will be moderated by Dr. C.S. Kumar, Transport Secretary, Government of Odisha. Over to you, sir. Thank you.
Actually, you must have, if you have read the recent India Today article on various requirements for India to really develop, one of them is the transportation. And that says even if a country is growing at rate of 7%, 8%, the demand for transportation, particularly the road transportation, is growing at rate of the 15–20%. Your vehicles, etc., are growing at the rate of 15%. At the time of independence, the India Today article says the ratio of rail transportation and road transportation was like the road was 50–60 and railway was 30–40. Now it almost 10–90. The railway is just 10% and the road transportation is 90%. And in the coming days, the importance of the road transportation will further increase. So if we really don't look forward and plan, then we will have the problems which we are facing now. We must be facing a lot of, you know, around 5 lakh people are dying on the road every year because of the road accidents, because of the bad traffic planning, or what Government of India says. The 3 reasons for that, one is engineering, another is enforcement, and another is education. 3 is. So of course we have to plan on all 3 sectors: engineering, enforcement, and education. But as a transport commissioner, I look after basically on the, not much on the engineering sector, but on the more on the enforcement and education, and trying to make easier for the users of vehicle to whatever they need licensing, like learning licensing, driving licensing, permits, and you know, the fitness. And so we try to make them as automatic as we are trying to move in the direction of full automation. So we have done a timeline, and let us see. So I just wanted to highlight the importance of the road transportation. And I just, as told you, if you don't do that, if today 5 lakh people are dying on the road, and then tomorrow this number will increase steeply, because every year the 15% growth rate is taking place in the transportation. people are switching from the railway to road. The gap is going on. Now it is 90% by road and 10% only by railways. So a lot of planning is required. So as a Transport Commission in Odisha, we are planning for, I have a small power plant, but I will not try to, I will show in the last, I'll jump through the power plant. But basically what we are trying to do, we are trying to automate all of the sectors. And we have a time bound, we have a Public Service Delivery Act system that if you apply for a learning license, we get within these days. You have a driving license, you have fitness, and you have a permit, and then pollution testing, certification, and then mobile applications so that you can get out, and all those things we are trying to do. So anyway, so I would like to first hear my panelist before I do that. So I'll now request Dilip Sekadar to please present his views on the.
Can I have a presentation? Before I start sharing my experience, I would like to thanks Bhopal Municipal Corporation, the organizer, to give me this opportunity for sharing my experience of a planning and developing a greenfield city called Naya Raipur. As you are aware, who is that? As you are aware that Chhattisgarh came into existence on 1st November 2000. And immediately after that, the government decided to have a new city called Naya Raipur. Actually, the work started in 2001, the planning work, and I am very fortunate that I am working on this project from the day one. Actually, a lot of efforts were made for the selection of sites with a detailed scientific study of the various locations, and analysis of the various locations also. We decided ultimately the site for the Naya Raipur.
सर वो फाइल आपका हैवी है ना 300 MB का, उसकी वजह से प्रॉब्लम आ रहा है.
मेरा लैपटॉप ओपन हो देता था. The city is about 20 kilometers away from the Raipur city on the south-eastern side, and it has got excellent connectivity from two national highways, that is National Highway number 6 and 53. It has also got the accessibility from the railway, and the airport is already within the city area only. My God. The total area of the city is 237 square kilometer area. Sure. Okay. Here it has come. यहाँ आ गए.
Otherwise, you can speak to the power plant and let us know the power plant.
Actually, the plan is the city is planned in 3 layers. Is it coming? Okay, I will do it like this. This is the problem with the smart infrastructure. Okay. Now, it's over. Since you have given ultimatum, the program has started now. Okay. This is what we are planning and implementing on site. This was the plan on the left side, which we implemented on site with the capital complex. This is the location of the new city, which is about 20 kilometers from Raipur, and the 2 national highways and railways are there. We are also constructing one railway line within the city, which will act as a suburban railway for that. And there are 3 layers of this city. One is the main core city of 80 square kilometer area, which will house 5.6 lakh population, and buffer, green buffer of 130 square kilometer area, and airport area, which will take care of the expansion of the existing airport. This is the development plan. I will not discuss on that because this is 40 sectors are there, residential development, and basically it is a public, semi-public activities are more, being a capital city. And now let us talk about how we are implementing, making it a smart city. There are 7 tracks we are implementing. One is the smart governance, city surveillance, smart utility management, intelligent transport, city management center, then legislation for implementing it, and city network and compute infra. Under the smart governance, we want to create a city portal and the payment gateway for that. And then we want to establish city facility centers across the city, and their entire city life cycle management will be done. Then utility application like billing, license management systems, city assessment management, that will come under this smart governance. Then welfare schemes of the management, welfare scheme management will come, and then grievance management along with the dashboard systems. We will also have the land and estate management system so that any citizen can take the information about his property. Then the spatial data on GIS platform, and the building permission. We will have touch screens around the city, which will give the city guide map on browser. Under the city surveillance systems, we will deploy cameras at the important and strategic locations, and it will be monitored at the centralized location. We will also have mobile vans, which will move around the city with video cameras and detect any illegal activities in that. Utility management systems, we will have SCADA for electrical distribution system, water distribution, sewerage systems, solid waste management. And we already have intelligent street lighting, landscape and public area, which will be again integrated in the overall smart city system. On the overall city, we will have intelligence transport, we will have centralized traffic signal system, and enforcement of traffic rules through the dedicated cameras at the junction. Then traffic routing applications based on the real-time traffic data. Presently, it may not be required because there is not much traffic on the road. Digital and easy to find pay and use parking, this also will come in the future. Electrical charging stations to charge the battery operated vehicles, and the variable messaging systems, that is display boards across the city to give the information to the citizens of the city people. Now under city management center, there is a centralized control center will come, which will handle the crisis management, which will also provide the alert to the people for any mishap. And then it will also automatically detect the fire at the vital installations and fire alarms. This will also help in providing the emergency medical help to the citizens of the area. We are also enacting a legislation because this implementing authority will need special powers which may have to draw from the RTO, police departments, revenue departments, etc. So that draft legislation is under preparation. And we will also have a citizen charter to assure the quality of the services to the people. We will have a data center where all real-time data will come, not only of the city, but from the revenue department, from the police department, from the RTO. All the data will be there, and that data will be available to the people. They can use that data for their purpose. And city network for the fiber optic network, that already being laid in the entire city. This is regarding the BRTS. We are also implementing BRTS for the city to improve the connectivity between Raipur and Naya Raipur. This is implemented under the World Bank project. 3 routes have been identified. 2 routes from the Raipur and Naya Raipur and 1 from the within the city. This is the IT system for the BRTS. We will have outboard fare collection, installation of cameras in bus test shelters and buses, then tracking of vehicle by GPRS and real-time bus scheduling, so that people should know when the bus is coming, at what time it is coming, and what is the location of the coming bus. Public information systems through the speakers and LCD screens. Data backup at the control center, which will monitor the entire bus operation, maintenance, and depot management system. These are the site pictures. Bus shelter is being constructed. Pickup points from the railway station and old Mantralaya, they are under construction. And this is bus depot and control, central control center. Actually, we started this execution of the infrastructure in 2007, and from that time only we decided to have that city will have smart infrastructure. So we have a dedicated utility corridor for all the infrastructure service in the master plan. We have a dedicated master transit routes. Optical fiber network was already started laying in that area. Nearly 31 kilometer of optical fiber system is already laid. We have a JV with BSNL, who is taking care of the erecting towers and fiber optic cable. All our electrical network, water supply network and sewerage network is already SCADA compliant. Street light work under execution has network control LED street lights. This is presently working on GPRS. And on implementation of smart city implementation, this system will be integrated with the smart city network. Today also we are operating through the SMS and mobile. Eco-friendly development, we already have nearly 26% of green area. We use and advocate solar energy. Our entire daylighting of the Mantralaya is through the solar plant. We invest water harvesting, non-water transport is also advocated. NMT, we along the roads we have cycle tracks, pedestrian pathways, and this is also being constructed under the World Bank supervision. These are the LED lights which are already placed on the road. We appointed PwC as our consultant in 2014 only. Our pre-feasibility report was ready even before the announcement of the policy by the Government of India. We were the first to make the presentation before the Government of India for smart city, and the DPR for the first phase will be ready by the January 2016. As regards BRTS, 40 buses have been already ordered. BRTS IT is also ordered, and we are in process of appointing operator and maintenance contract, and draft service plan is also ready. Just 1 minute, 1 minute. बहुत स्लो मशीन है, एक्सट्रीमली स्लो. I'm sorry, the computer is very slow, extremely slow. We hope that our BRT system will start from the 1st January 2016, and regard, yeah, sure.
So now I request Sri Abhishek Kumar, Technical Secretary to Minister IT, Government of Telangana. Please present.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, dignitaries on the dais, other guests, fellow colleagues. Well, it gives us, or rather me, in fact, a great opportunity and a feeling of joy to get a chance and speak about the much discussed agenda of smart cities. So all of a sudden, the world has gone to a spree of talking about the word smart. So earlier, the key word which we as a children used to listen is about being a smart guy when we grew up. Then there were smart schools. And then when there were smart society, now the spans has gone bigger. It's smart city altogether and a smart nation. No worries, no worries, leave it. No worries, thank you. So I think some goof up with the presentation any which way. So I'll quickly present my thoughts and having received a chance to speak in a state where Hindi is one of the official languages, if I'm not correct, I'll not miss the opportunity to switching over to Hindi most of the times. So the topic is smarter transportation and smart infrastructure. The key deliverables and the domain inputs on the topic, I think we have our subject matter experts and various secretaries who lead the domain and would go into the nitty-gritty. Today, I'll try to speak from the user point of view, from the civilian point of view, from the citizen point of view. The point of view where, we expect the government and the industry to come together and they'll take our collaboration to make the so-called city around us or the village around us smart. So if you see the word smart, and the moment I step out from my home, what do I expect? Yes, an easy and a smart way to reach to my office or reach to a destination where I'm supposed to go in the evening with the family. How do I do that? Of course, we are moving towards an arena where we are talking about less pollution, less carbon footprint. So the first step we look forward is to reduce the movement of the personal vehicle and utilization of more of public transport. I'll just give you an example. Some of the various cities across the world, they have come up with a very nice concept. There would be 3 or 4 lanes which will be going towards the city, or rather say in and around the city. The outermost lane would be the most broad, open, and the lane which gives you the maximum mobility. Those lanes will be kept open for the public transport. The buses where you can really hop in and hop on. Second lane where which would be little thinner, and those would be the lanes where you would use your personal vehicle to move in, move out. The third lane towards the inside of the focal point would be a lane which will be more for people who ride on bicycles, and fourth for the pedestrians. So on and so forth, they have been designed. So definitely, if given me a choice, I look for a mode of transportation which is fast and where, as a citizen, I have to contribute, I have to pay least value. And there where the fourth lane really comes into the picture, the lane where public transport is more wide and more open. I think Delhi tried it, but we had to really look back and look forth that how do we implement it more wisely, especially in the upcoming towns and the state capital to start with. इसके लिए किस चीज़ की आवश्यकता है? एक पब्लिक ट्रांसपोर्ट पे अगर हम और आप खड़े होते हैं पब्लिक ट्रांसपोर्ट व्यवस्था के लिए, तो पहली हमारी अपेक्षा होती है कि मैं जिस बस से जा रहा हूँ या जिस रूट में जा रहा हूँ, उस रूट में क्या सुविधाएं मुझे मिल सकती है, किस तरह की बसेस हो सकती हैं। अगर मैं एक लंबी जर्नी करने जा रहा हूँ तो डेफिनेटली आई लुक फॉरवर्ड टू मोड ऑफ ट्रांसपोर्ट जहाँ मुझे एक एसी बस की सुविधा मिल जाए या एक सो कॉल्ड मेट्रो बस की सुविधा मिल जाए, जहाँ टिकट का फेयर थोड़ा ज़्यादा हो बट कंफर्ट हो डिस्टेंस को लेके ज़्यादा। इस जानकारी के साथ ये बहुत अच्छा हो कि अगर मुझे ये पता चल जाए ये बस मेरी कहाँ है, कहाँ आ सकती है, कितनी देर में आ सकती है और मुझे कहाँ कितनी देर में पहुँचा सकती है। तीसरा, मुझे ये पता चल जाए और ये पता मुझे किसी डैशबोर्ड को देखने के अलावा मेरे मोबाइल पे पता चल जाए किसी ऐप के थ्रू, दैट मेरी बस कहाँ है, कितनी दूरी पे है, और अगर ये बस मुझे डायरेक्ट ऑप्शन नहीं दे रही है तो कनेक्टिंग कौन सी बेस्ट ऑप्शन बेस्ट सूटेबल रहेगी मेरे लिए, और वो ऐप मुझे चार्ज भी ना करे। तो आप देखेंगे स्मार्ट वर्ड जो है वो स्मैक वर्ड से बहुत क्लोजली जुड़ा हुआ है। स्मैक, सोशल, मोबिलिटी, एनालिटिक्स एंड क्लाउड। प्राइम मिनिस्टर साहब ने तो ये घोषणा कर ही दी है, एम गवर्नेंस अब ई गवर्नेंस को टेकअप करने वाला है। ई गवर्नेंस एक अम्ब्रेला रूफ रहेगा, क्रियान्वयन इम्प्लीमेंटेशन का जरिया होगा एम गवर्नेंस। सो स्मैक विल प्ले अ ग्रेट रोल टुवर्ड्स मेकिंग आवर ट्रांसपोर्टेशन सिस्टम रियली स्मार्टर। इस पहलू को अगर और गहराई से देखें तो हमने हैदराबाद, तेलंगाना की जो राजधानी है, उसमें एक एक्सपेरिमेंट करा और रादर से गवर्नमेंट का बहुत बोल्ड डिसीजन था। हमने कहा जो आईटी जोन है जहाँ पे डेली करीब 5 लाख उद्यमी, 5 लाख सिटीजन, एम्प्लॉय, एंटरप्रेन्योर्स डेली आते हैं जॉब करने के लिए या अपने बिजनेस को देखने के लिए, तो उसमें सबसे ज़्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट पार्ट आ जाता है सिक्योरिटी का और ईज ऑफ, जैसे ईज ऑफ डूइंग बिजनेस कहते हैं तो ईज ऑफ एक्सेस टू बिजनेस, ईज ऑफ एक्सेस टू ऑफिस का, और इसमें मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट कंपोनेंट आ जाता है वुमेन सेफ्टी का। तो हमने इस कंपोनेंट को ध्यान में रखते हुए शी शटल्स की घोषणा करी। शी शटल्स एक डेडिकेटेड व्हीकल जो महिलाओं के लिए, हमारे वुमेन फोक के लिए उस आईटी सेक्टर, आईटी कॉरिडोर में ऑपरेट करेंगी और उनको वेरियस पॉइंट्स राइट फ्रॉम देयर वेरियस वर्क प्लेसेस टू वेरियस अदर जंक्चर्स पहुंचाएगी। अब आप सोच सकते हैं इससे कितनी आसानी है। रात को 10 बजे भी अगर किसी महिला अधिकारी की शिफ्ट खत्म हो रही है या एंटरप्रेन्योर रात को 11 बजे भी अपने यूएस कस्टमर्स को अच्छे से इंगेज करने के बाद, डील करने के बाद, अपने बिजनेस कमिटमेंट्स डिस्कस करने के बाद घर जाना चाह रही हैं और अपनी व्हीकल नहीं यूज़ करना चाह रही, जिसको हमने एजेंडा बनाया है कि आप सोशल प्लेटफॉर्म पे आप आइए, आप अपनी व्हीकल्स यूज़ मत कीजिए, सिटी के स्मार्टनेस के लिए, कार्बन फुटप्रिंट रिड्यूस करने के लिए काम कीजिए। तो सिर्फ बातें नहीं, हमने फिर इसको इम्प्लीमेंटेशन में कन्वर्ट किया, उनको शी शटल्स दिया। अब मैं बस स्टॉप पे हम खड़े हैं और हमें पता नहीं है कि शी शटल कहाँ है, कहाँ जाएगी, किसको कॉल करेंगे। तो हमने एक बहुत सिंपल मोबाइल गवर्नेंस के साथ एक्सपेरिमेंट किया, एक शी शटल ऐप बनाया। उस ऐप पे हम लॉगिन करते ही, रादर लॉगिन द वर्ड यूज विल नॉट बी करेक्ट, हम उस ऐप को खोलते ही we can very easily see what are the nearest points where the sea shuttle is there. बहुत सारे आज के डेट में प्रोविजनिंग सिस्टम्स आ गए हैं जो हम ओला कैब्स या उबेर कैब्स की बात करते हैं, सेम टेक्नोलॉजी वो यूज़ कर रहे हैं, सेम मेथोडोलॉजी यूज़ कर रहे हैं। अब मान लीजिए ट्रांसपोर्टेशन में सी शटल के साथ साथ सिक्योरिटी का दूसरा फीचर ये है, हमने एक दूसरा ऐप यूज़ करा, हॉकाई। ये ऐप उसी प्रिंसिपल पे आधारित है जिसकी चर्चा हम बहुत बार इंडिया में कर चुके हैं, कई और फोरम्स में हो चुकी है कि जब आप किसी दुविधा में हो, किसी संकट में हो या कोई हेल्प चाहिए उस ऐप पे क्लिक करते ही आपके सोशल नेटवर्क में जितने भी आपके मित्र हैं, रिश्तेदार हैं और जो नियरेस्ट पुलिस स्टेशन है, वहाँ पे आपके पोजीशन की अलर्ट पहुँच जाती है विद योर लोकेशंस। सो स्मार्ट ट्रांसपोर्टेशन और स्मार्ट टच, यहाँ पे एक आयाम, यहाँ पे एक डायमेंशन हमने छूने की कोशिश करी। अब बड़ी बात यह आई कि जब ये एक्सपेरिमेंट सक्सेसफुल रहा, तो क्यों ना हम इसको स्टेट ट्रांसपोर्टेशन में यूज़ करें और अपने सारे बसेस, ना कि सिर्फ हैदराबाद शहर हो या किसी भी फॉर दैट मैटर किसी भी शहर में नहीं, between the cities, between the city to the village, between the villages अप्लाई करने में इसको लाएं। इस बारे में हम प्लानिंग स्टेज पे हैं और काफ़ी एग्रेसिव प्लानिंग हमारी चल रही है, जो इम्प्लीमेंटेशन की ओर बहुत जल्द जाएगी, जिस पे हम स्मार्ट ट्रांसपोर्टेशन की जो परिकल्पना है, जब ट्रांसपोर्टेशन का जो मूवमेंट है, बसेस का मूवमेंट है और उनकी गतिविधियां हैं, उसको हम मेजर कर सकें। अब ट्रांसपोर्टेशन की बात आती है तो बहुत ज़रूरी बात आती है कि हम ट्रांसपोर्टेशन को अवेल कैसे करें। तो टिकटिंग सिस्टम इज़ द की वर्ड। हर सिटीज़न के लिए बहुत ज़रूरी हो गया और हम कहते आ रहे हैं इंडिया में, वी शुड लेस डिपेंड ऑन कैश, कैश का मूवमेंट कम करें, कैश का मूवमेंट कम करें। तो क्या ऐसा हो सकता है कि हमारे हर बसेस में मोबाइल वॉलेट, जो एक बहुत ही एक्सपेरिमेंटेड और वेल टू डू कंसेप्ट आ चुका है, सिटीज़न अपने मोबाइल वॉलेट से ही ऑन द बस, ऑन द फ्लाई अपने टिकट पे कर सके। सो डेफिनेटली ये एक ऐसा प्रयोग होगा, एक ऐसा एक्सपेरिमेंट होगा जो डेफिनेटली हमें एक नेक्स्ट लेवल पे बहुत आसानी से पहुंचा देगा। मोबाइल रिचार्ज कराने का जो मॉडल रहा है, जो कस्टमर से लेके रिटेलर तक का, उस सेम मॉडल को यूज़ करते हुए कुछ नया करने की ज़रूरत नहीं है। तो इन सभी बातों का सार ये निकलता है, द समरी ऑफ ऑल दिस डिस्कशन इज देयर आर लॉट ऑफ एवेन्यूज विच आर ऑलवेज एंड हैव बीन अवेलेबल। इट्स ऑल अबाउट कनेक्टिंग द डॉट्स। इट्स ऑल अबाउट नॉट creating a new wheel, but using the same hub and the same spoke of the existing wheel well connected. इसके बाद इम्पॉर्टेंट एक एजेंडा और एक इम्पॉर्टेंट टॉपिक आता है स्मार्ट इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर का, जो भी हमारे टॉपिक में इंक्लूजन पॉइंट रहा है। सो अगर स्मार्ट इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर की बात करें तो आई वॉज जस्ट सीइंग द न्यूज़ चैनल और अबू धाबी के पास मजदर शहर की बहुत बात हुई। हमारे माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी भी वहाँ गए। वो एक आइडियल ड्रीम डेस्टिनेशन है, एक नॉर्थ स्टार बनाने की परिकल्पना की गई है, जहाँ पे यू लीव योर ऑल ट्रांसपोर्ट एट द सिटी पेरिफेरी। आप अंडर द चैनल एक सिटी की ट्रांसपोर्ट को लेते हैं जो सोलर पावर पे चलती है, जो नॉन मैन्ड मोड ऑफ ट्रांसपोर्ट है। So all you have to do is key in your location and the transport will take you through themselves automatically. और ये चलने के लिए जिस तकनीक का प्रयोग हो रहा है, जिस एनर्जी सोर्स का प्रयोग हो रहा है, वो सोलर एनर्जी पे आधारित है। तो ये एक ड्रीम डेस्टिनेशन है। अब बड़ा क्वेश्चन ये आता है कि क्या इंडिया में पॉसिबल है? बिल्कुल पॉसिबल है। अगर हम शुरुआत किसी नए शहर से कर रहे हैं, भोपाल या हैदराबाद के बाहर जो नए इंडस्ट्रियल जोन आ रहे हैं वहाँ हम करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं, तो बिल्कुल हो सकता है। लेकिन जो एग्जिस्टिंग शहर है उस पे करने के लिए हमें क्या करना पड़ेगा? तो वर्ड आता है, जिस इंग्लिश के डिक्शनरी की वर्ड की सबसे ज़्यादा यहाँ अहमियत आती है, वो है रेट्रोफिटिंग। अब रेट्रोफिटिंग जो वर्ड है, जहाँ सब कुछ हो चुका है और आपको फिर उसको वापस फिट करना है। यहाँ पे डिस्कशन को मैं एक नए डायमेंशन पे ले जाना चाहूँगा। आई टेक 3 ओनली सर। सो रेट्रोफिटिंग की जब बात आई तो हमने एक एग्जिस्टिंग चैलेंज को पहले एड्रेस करने की कोशिश की। हमने कहा क्या स्मार्ट सिटी या स्मार्ट ट्रांसपोर्टेशन या स्मार्ट इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर सिर्फ उन लोगों के लिए है जो हम सब जो ऊपर वाले के आशीर्वाद से वेल टू डू, एवरीथिंग इज गुड एंड ऑल लिम्स वर्किंग। What about our people who are challenged, जो कहीं ना कहीं डिसेबिलिटी से जूझते हुए भी लाइफ में उन्होंने एग्जाम्पल सेट करके रखा है। सो बैरियर एक्सेस फ्री इज़ द वर्ड। अगर हम स्मार्ट सिटी और स्मार्ट ट्रांसपोर्टेशन या स्पेशली स्मार्ट इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर की परिकल्पना करते हैं, स्पेशली हम बाहर की बात ना करें, गवर्नमेंट ऑफिसर्स की बात करें, तो रेट्रोफिटिंग ऑफ barrier access free methodology will be the key word to fill the gap, and from there we can always add on to all the existing technologies, existing methodologies, and existing guidances from whatever the best examples in the world have been towards making our place smarter. And the most important component, since I work for Ministry for IT and report to my Honorable Minister for IT, so स्मैक की बात मैंने कही, सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट अदर कनेक्टिविटी का पार्ट आता है. सो कनेक्टिविटी को हम कैसे जोड़ें? यहाँ पे तेलंगाना में हमने एक और फ्यूजन करने की कोशिश की. तेलंगाना हैज़ गॉट अ बिग प्लान ऑफ रूरल वाटर ग्रिड, जहाँ हर घर को एक स्थायी परमानेंट वाटर सोल्यूशन से कनेक्ट करने की कोशिश की जा रही है, जिसके लिए पूरे राज्य में देयर विल बी अ डक्ट विच विल बी लेड अंडरग्राउंड. तो हमने कहा कि हम तो यहाँ पे डक्ट ले कर ही रहे हैं, वाटर की पाइपलाइन डालेंगे, क्यों ना साथ में एक केबल भी डाल दें. सो हर घर पानी भी पहुँचेगा, हर घर कनेक्टिविटी भी पहुँचेगी, और एक बार जब कनेक्टिविटी आपके पास पहुँच गई, उसके बाद स्काई इज़ द लिमिट. स्मार्ट को स्मार्टर आप बनाते रहें. और यहाँ पे स्मार्ट सिटी और स्मार्ट विलेज की जो बात चल रही है, ये इन दोनों को हमने सेम प्लेटफॉर्म पे लाने की कोशिश की, और हम चाहेंगे और हम आशा करते हैं कि बाकी हमारे सारे और प्रगतिशील शहर, भोपाल जो एक राजा भोज की नगरी है, और हर बार जब हम आते हैं तो हैदराबाद और भोपाल के बीच में द लेक कनेक्ट है ना, यहाँ भी ये लेक की राजधानी है, वहाँ भी लेक की राजधानी है. तो साथ ग्रो करने का सपना लेते हुए मैं आप सभी को आमंत्रित करूँगा, हैदराबाद आइए और देखिए, साथ में जुड़िए, और हम देखिए कलेक्टिवली बैलेंस करते हुए स्मार्ट, डिजिटाइज्ड और एंड ऑफ द डे मोर ह्यूमन, मोर प्रैक्टिकल सॉल्यूशंस को कैसे हम कार्यान्वित इम्प्लीमेंट कर सकते हैं. थैंक यू सो मच. जय हिंद.
Now will I invite Sri Amit Bhatt, Strategic Head, Embark India, to present his views.
चलेगा कि नहीं चलेगा? इस पर आ जाए. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. So over the last 2 days, we have been hearing a lot of concepts around smart cities and what smart cities are, why smart cities are needed, क्यों हमें चाहिए, क्यों नहीं चाहिए, क्या डेफिनेशन है, क्या नई डेफिनेशन है. काफ़ी सारी चर्चा हमने पिछले करीब 2 दिनों में की हैं. तो ग्लोबली अगर हम देखें, इट इज़ राइट दैट देयर इज़ नो सिंगल डेफिनेशन फॉर स्मार्ट or smart city, but there are certain attributes which a smart city should show, and these are the 3 main attributes. That the smart city has to be a livable city, so livability, people-centric approach is really important. Second, the smart city should also have a very important contribution of vibrant economy, because as a student of urban planner, a transport planner, an architect, we have learned that if the economy is not vibrant, then the decay starts to happen in cities, and therefore it has to have a very strong economic base, a vibrant economic base. And third is, it should have very low resource consumption. हम सब कुछ कंज्यूम कर लें सिर्फ अपने इकोनॉमिक उसके लिए, लिवेबिलिटी के लिए, दैट इज ऑल्सो नॉट. सो द पॉइंट इज दैट ऑल दीज 3 थिंग्स हैव टू बी बैलेंस्ड, एंड दैट इज वेयर वी कैन यूज टेक्नोलॉजी एज अ मल्टीप्लायर. तो अगर हम 3 चीज़ों को देखें कि लिवेबिलिटी, वाइब्रेंट इकोनॉमी और लो रिसोर्स कंजम्पशन को थोड़ा सा हम ग्राइनुलर लेवल पर ले जाएं, तो व्हाट वी वांट, सेफ्टी एंड सिक्योरिटी, डायरेक्टली स्टेम्स आउट फ्रॉम लिवेबिलिटी पोर्शन. Economic vibrancy of economy is directly linked to a job creation, but also opportunity to participate in these jobs. Because transport के क्षेत्र में काम करता हूँ, तो मैं आजकल बहुत पिछले कई समय से हम लोग देख रहे हैं कि there is a very acute shortage of drivers for the logistics and the transport industry. So एक तरफ तो हम कह रहे हैं कि we have surplus manpower, और दूसरी तरफ लॉजिस्टिक सेक्टर को ड्राइवर्स नहीं मिल रहे हैं, तो देयर इज समथिंग मिसमैच. एंड थर्ड इज रिसोर्स कंजम्पशन. सो what I am trying to drive a point, and this is also following from the previous speaker's presentation, that we need safety, we need to promote public transport, and we need to have a large amount of women using that public transport. But if we look at this issue, what reminds is that India, in terms of workforce participation, is almost at the lowest level compared to the global data. And what is even more striking is that जो workforce participation है शहरों में वो गाँव की तुलना में काफ़ी कम है. So which again is a big challenge. And what we have seen is that in all these places, security is a major issue. And therefore the question is, if you want Make in India or Make in Madhya Pradesh or Make in Bhopal to succeed, it cannot succeed unless we have women joining the workforce, because you need people to kind of participate in these economic activities. So what we did was, and again, when you see these incidents which take the limelight, whether it is the 2012 incident of Delhi or the repeat in Delhi and then in Punjab, is that if we don't address this issue, then we are seriously risking our cities and our towns or villages to not develop in this smart manner. So what we thought of was that first we need to understand this problem in detail, right? Because what we found was that women's safety and transport is not really understood in detail. There's not any literature study has been done on it. So with the help of Bhopal Municipal Corporation and DFID, we did a very detailed, in-depth analysis of these issues and then how we can address this issue. So I'll just show you a few salient findings, because unless we have the safe infrastructure, we really can't have a vibrant and livable city. So जब भी सेफ्टी की बात होती है तो पहला रिस्पॉन्स आता है कि हम सीसीटीवी कैमरा लगा दें, हम जीपीएस लगा दें, हम सारे टेक्नोलॉजिकल सॉल्यूशंस लगा दें. But what we have seen is that these solutions have very small, limited impact, because the problem is beyond these gadgets. So the question is, how do we address this? And if you want to address this, we need to first find a real problem. So as I said, we didn't have much work, but with the support of Municipal Corporation of Bhopal, we did a very detailed analysis of this problem, and we have come with few recommendations, and some of it has already been implemented by BCL. First thing that we found was the transport expenditure of women in the city, and this is common to most Indian cities, is less than men, which means the men get the first right to spend the money, and whatever is left out is being used by women to meet their transport expenses. And this really affects the choice of mode. Secondly, women also travel a lot with dependents, unlike men. And these dependents include children as well as grandparents. So this again is very important because of the choice of mode or the transport. Second is, in terms of women movement pattern, there is a trip chaining which happens. So typically, women do multiple things in one trip. So probably you are going to pick up your son or daughter, then probably she'll buy something and then she'll come back. So there are multiple legs to a journey, which is typically not the case for trips of men. And this third parameter is very interesting, is how do you select a mode? While cost of transport is the first criteria for men and women, the second most important criteria for men is the speed of transport, but for women it is the safety of transport. And that is really, really important. What we found is that, and if you look at the current state of infrastructure, this was about 8-9 months back, that a lot of these bus stops in the city were not visible. Many bus routes did not have bus stops. Now we got some new bus stops made. And in most cases, the accessibility of the bus stop was really a big problem, which kind of forces you to stand on the road. And when you are road, you are kind of exposed to a much harsher environment. Most of these CCTV cameras were not operating. And the helpline emergency numbers which are there in the bus were not visible. Either they had been vandalized or scratched. So there was nothing you can do if, for example, there is an incident which happens. Now this is very interesting, and this is we got the response was that about 88% women at that time had experienced harassment as a part of their journey. And this is a very high number, but a recent study done from Bangalore reported this number as 95%. So harassment is there in transport, and in most of the times people have become accustomed to it. So probably the reporting is not high. But what is even more striking was that half of these respondents felt that harassment happens on a regular interval. Now this is something which we need to address very, very seriously. Because if you want people to use public transport, you want more workforce women to participate, then this has to be addressed at a very early stage. Now, we spoke to drivers, conductors of minibuses, buses, and other modes of all the public transport. And what they felt was that, in their opinion, women harassment was not something which was a very prevalent or pertinent issue. And about 30% of these people felt that women are equally responsible for harassment. Now, this is what I'm saying, that these issues are beyond technological interventions. And we need to have some human-centric solutions also if we really want to address this problem. And then there were safety concerns, like there was issue of lighting, bus stop design, overcrowding, so on and so forth. Now what we found was that each journey has 4 important legs. When you are traveling to a bus stop, you are waiting at the bus stop, you are boarding the bus, and then you are traveling inside the bus. And what we found was these harassments or these incidents, there are certain incidents which are common across all these 4 legs of journey, but there are certain incidents which are peculiar to a stage of journey. So for example, what we found especially in the minibuses was that when the minibus stops to pick up a passenger, the tendency of the conductor to come and stand on the door. And knowingly or unknowingly, he's doing this for so many years. Now what it does is that it actually decreases the width of the door. And therefore, it kind of, by this process, he is harassing the female passenger, and the female passenger is feeling very uncomfortable to board the bus. Many a times he is doing it by intention, but most of the time he's also doing unintentionally, because it has become a norm to pick up passenger in this manner. So that is really interesting, that there are incidents which are kind of common to the leg of the journey. So what we need is that we need something, the approach has to be something comprehensive, which is we need to look at the service planning and operations, we need to look at the capacity, we need to look at infrastructure, and we need to look at enforcement and grievance redressal mechanism. So the question is, what can we do in terms of service planning and operation? So there are things which can do in terms of licensing, in terms of training, in terms of incentivizing women to travel. And what we thought was, one of the easiest example that we could think is stop on request. Very early hours of operation, let us say 6 to 7 at that time, or late, let us say after 7:38. If the woman is traveling, especially in the peripheral areas, the bus should stop on her request, which means that she will get down at a stop which is much closer to her house, and therefore the chances of meeting these incidents will significantly go. Small interventions, but it can make huge difference in terms of the safety. Second, what we said was institutional capacity. Now we looked at all the STUs, Delhi Transport Corporation, Bangalore Municipal Transport Corporation, KSRTC, ATNRTC, all, and we found women representation in transport is very, very low. And in all these big bus companies, middle level to upper level, there's no one to represent the voice of women and bring her issues on the focus. And therefore, by design, what happens is that a lot of these services which get designed are designed for men who are in the age group of 15 to probably 35. And therefore, right from the placement of bus stop to operations of services are really not very comprehensive. So the point was, can we create a separate position like manager vigilance or women's safety in these STUs, in these bus companies, so that some of these issues can be brought up at the planning itself. So for example, one incident that we found in one of the cities was, there is a strong linkage of lighting and safety.
5 minutes.
Yeah, I'll just wind up in 3-4 minutes. So, in one incident, what the agency had done was that one of the bus stops in the periphery of the city, all the lighting was on the bus stop itself. Now, what it did was earlier probably a woman was not visible, but now she is visible from 2 kilometers away. Because instead of lighting the environment, you have lighted everything on the bus stop. And therefore, the intention was to improve the safety, but it has become deterrent to the safety. So the point is, but these things has to be brought out upfront, and probably men will not understand this. So it is important to have this kind of setup in the institutional stage itself. Third was around infrastructure and vehicles, and we thought a lot can be done with regards to the way infrastructure are designed. And one of the easiest thing that we did was, how do you decide a bus stop placement, especially in the areas which are slightly away from the city. We should take a cognizance of the natural surveillance, which is have bus stops in an area which is slightly more crowded, where there are people around, so that it gives a natural surveillance to women passengers. And stops like this, protected, well shaded, really address the safety of women. Enforcement and grievance, I think this is something which can be done very easily, but and can make a huge impact. Because what we found was, let us say if there's an incident which happens in the bus, there is no standard operating procedure on how should the driver or the conductor react to these incidents. And so they don't know what to do. And what they typically do is that, okay, madam, aap ruk jaiye, we'll see, and then it tries to subside the thing. So a standard operating procedure, if the instruction can be pasted on the bus, that itself will have a big significant impact, a deterrent to the violators. But also, if we can have some helpline numbers, maybe a city-wide safety numbers, where a woman can report an incident and she does not have to go to a police station, that itself will kind of create a lot of database which will help agencies to address this problem. So this is it. I just wanted to thank you for your patient listening. But the point is that we need to, if we want to make our cities livable, if we want to improve our economy, and if we want to have low resource consumption, we need a lot of women in the workforce, we need public transport, and we need a safe and secure public transport. Thank you so much.
Before I open to floor, actually I'm not making a presentation because my presentation will be more or less a repetition of these three, because whatever these three presentations, actually we are working on that. And one or two things we have introduced in Odisha, just I will repeat before the floor I will open. We have now introduced, before refreshing the driving license for heavy vehicle, renewing, we have introduced a refresher training. Each driver must undergo a refresher training every year for 2 days, and in which they are sensitized about all these issues for various things. So then only his driving license is renewed, every 2 days refresher training. And another thing, we are working on a project where on the safety matter, we are trying to integrate on the GIS based tracking, GIS, GPS, CCTV, and that has to be controlled by control room. Because just putting a CCTV doesn't matter, because nobody monitors what is going on the CCTV. So we are trying to we are working on project. It may take 6 months or 1 year, 1 year. But I think we are trying to integrate the whole thing. We are mapping the whole routes by GIS, and GPS. The buses will be monitored by GPS and CCTV. Let us see how it goes. So these 2-3 things, apart from other automations, we are working on. So now I think I will invite questions to my panelists.
Hello, good evening. My question is to Mr. Dilip. So you are presenting about this Naya Chandigarh Raipur plan, so smart city plan. So I just want to understand, suppose if you take in other sectors like road, power, so there will be a thumb rule cost, like for developing a 1 kilometer of road, this much of cost will be incurred. So could you throw some what will be the developmental cost for developing a smart city, a greenfield smart city per acre or hectare? So what was the cost incurred or projected for developing the smart city? What are the 9 components which you mentioned? BRTS, IT, e-governance, waste management. So including all these components, what will be the developmental cost which will be incurred to develop the smart cities?
Actually, there is no standard for this purpose. Actually, it depends upon what type of systems you are using, what type of components we are going to take. But I will give what are the cost we are anticipating as per our pre-feasibility report. Only for this smart city component will cost about 400 crores of rupees for the entire 5.6 lakh population. So that is what estimated we have done the estimates. And now when we do for the entire detailed project report, this cost will be crystallized. This is what we think. BRT's cost is different and separate for that, because it will about 150 crores of rupees for the BRTs for buses and operation like that. But only smart network will be cost about 400 crores for our city.
Hello. Since we are constructing a completely new housing or a sector, so it can be helpful. And sir, second question is to the transport experts. Sir, you have talked about the universal design, but after the metro, if we enter a metro station, then it's very useful. But right after coming down the metro, it's of no use. So how do you take that?
Your first question is regarding how we can involve the private sector in this area? Private sectors?
Like Naya Raipur development is a private sector, I mean, it's a PPP. So why cannot you mandate, are you mandating the green building systems into the sector?
Green, what principles?
Sir, I mean the IGBC, green rating system.
Ah, yes. Yeah, we have the policy that it should be energy efficient building, and it should have at least 3-star rating for that. That is must for all the government buildings. But in the private developer, we are not so far into, but in the development control regulations, we have provided incentives for the developer. If they provide for the certificate, then they will get some sort of FAR, they will get some concession the premium. That sort of arrangement we have done in the development control regulations of the Naya Raipur.
Yeah, the second question was efficiency of system when you are coming out of the metro station.
Yes, sir. For the universal design.
Yeah, so
For the very free design you have talked about.
So exactly, so the point is that when you are designing a transit system, it has to be designed from door to door. But typically in the past what we have been doing is that we have been designing, for example, a metro system or any other system, is that once you come on to my bus stop or my metro stand, I'll take you to the next bus stop or bus stand or metro stand. And we know it doesn't work. And therefore, if you want to design and that is why we are seeing a lot of these shifts happening from public transport modes to private transport, because private transport typically is door to door, whether it is your bike or it is your car. But public transport, you need to access the stop itself. So I think it's high time we need to change the focus, that instead of designing from stop to stop, but we need to design from the origin to the destination. That is where we'll get the full efficiency of the system. And in fact, sir is here. The whole reason for the bus rapid transit in Naya Raipur, and with this we had debate long, 5-6 years back. Initially thought was to have a bus service, and because currently also there's a huge land available, but the population is slowly shifting. So people ask, why you need BRT now? Because now there is no congestion. But the point is, do we wait for the congestion to come, or we plan in advance? I think this is a much better approach, that if we reserve the lane, we plan in advance, so that when there is a congestion, we don't have to run around and try to find land, because land is already earmarked. And that is something which some of the progressive cities like Curitiba have done long back in 70s, that they earmark land when they are planned, and then when that city developed, that is where they got the full mileage of the early planning.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. I request Shri R. Parshuram, State Election Commissioner, Madhya Pradesh, to come on stage and present memento to the speakers. Thank you, sir. Please give him a big round of applause. Shri R. Parshuram, State Election Commissioner, will present memento to Dr. C.S. Kumar, Transport Secretary, Government of Odisha, Dilip Shekdar, Consultant Architect, Naya Raipur Development Authority, Shri Abhishek Kumar, Technical Secretary to Minister of IT, Government of Telangana, and Shri Amit Bhatt, Strategic Head, Embark India. And as Shri Abhishek was discussing about She Shuttle, I just want to highlight one initiative of Bhopal Municipal Corporation.